and welcome to another Tony Talks To show. As you can see, I have a wonderful guest with me. I will introduce her properly in a moment, but first off, Susan, welcome to the sofa.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited. I've heard so much about this.
We're going to have a bit of fun here. Normally we've done these sorts of sessions on Zoom before with other people, but
Fine.
I thought COVID's over.
Yeah.
Let's get people back in the room. So this is actually
I like
nicer.
that. Less than 2 meters. COVID's over.
But we have to be close because of the camera, obviously.
That's
But anyway, but let me give Susan her service. I'm going to introduce her properly because you're wondering who she is. This is Susan Lacan, and she is a psychotherapist, also optometrist and fitness coach. And she uses her passions in fitness in particular and spirituality alongside her own lived experiences, so she's now helping other people literally transform her life. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Sounds so impressive when you say it like that.
It always sounds good when you give an introduction like this. Indeed. Right, I'm not going to ask you this. I was thinking about the question. I thought I was going to ask how old you are, but it's wrong to ask females.
I don't mind.
You don't mind answering that question?
I don't mind, because a lot of people, the journey that I've had, so I'm 47.
What?
Yeah, thanks. I'm 47.
I genuinely thought you were in your 30s.
I love that. Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
You actually look like that wasn't staged.
It's not staged.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, no, I'm 47, only for another 30 days or something. What? So next month I turn 48. Yeah.
Okay, let's change
that's
this.
why
You should add Secrets of Eternal Youth on your...
And that's why I am willing to share it, because it's been a journey getting here. And even the journey of the last few years, a lot of people feel that at that age, your life is over. After 40, for women, you know, we are told that it's doom and gloom. And I feel like this has been the blossoming. So that's where I actually did want to share the age.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you found a point, not what circumstances occurred, and then you thought, oh, this is now my new beginning, so to speak.
I think I feel like that part, the new beginning, is right now. The change and the shift, I mean, COVID, it's 3-4 years ago now. Oh yeah, nearly to the day.
Is it?
Nearly to the day. It was March 21st or 20th we went into lockdown.
Wow,
So,
I never thought of that. I forgot all about the date. I tried to erase that memory.
But so COVID, painful at the time, biggest blessing for my transformation anyway, if I can be honest.
Yeah. Why did you say?
So if we go down to that, so up until that point, my biggest nightmare at that time was being alone, locked up by yourself. I didn't want to stay in the house ever by myself. It was, I live alone. And so that was almost my worst nightmares coming true. And then on top of that, at the time, thankfully everything has been okay, but at the time I was undergoing a health, like a scare, I suppose. Okay. So they had me on a fast track cancer pathway, but nothing was fast in COVID.
No.
So you're trapped in your own mind with your own forceful silence. And that's where I would say the real journey began, because there was a journey before that, which I'm more than happy to share. But that's when the real journey became about the blessings that have come out of it. My diet changed, my food changed, exercise changed, my mindset changed, my career changed. So I feel like I feel like I look different.
You
and
do?
I feel like my mindset is I'd worked on it a lot before then, but I feel like something shifted after that as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the journey.
This is interesting. I mean, probably the viewers and listeners will be keen to know.
Yeah.
What was the trigger? What was it that you thought, right, enough's enough, I've got to flip this? Was there a particular point, or was it gradual?
Definite moment. No, definite moment.
Okay.
And pain. One thing I've learned for myself, for me to move and take action, it has to become painful. And I'd heard this before, that for someone to change, and you probably heard it with your background, you either are pulled by the goal or you're pushed by pain.
Yes.
And the one thing I've learned about myself is pain will push me, and I had no idea how disciplined I can become if I'm in enough pain. So and I'm not talking physical pain, actually, I'm talking, it was emotional pain. And there was a definite moment, I'm happy to share the story. So I was put on this pathway, and then I think the doctor had said there's definitely something. It was women's areas.
Yeah, okay.
There's definitely something. The nurse had said there's definitely something. They put me into this track. And so all of this time, I started some meditation classes online because I thought I need some interaction with people. Meditation's meant to be good.
Absolutely.
This team of people were amazing. They're all around the world, all joined on at 8 o'clock every morning through lockdown. So that was my support network through it. And then so they were starting to help me anyway. But then when I had that appointment with a gynecologist, and sometimes I don't know if they really realise the power that they have in their words. So when
They don't.
Honestly.
Some of them, unfortunately, don't have the necessary people skills in order to partake information that could be concerning to the recipient.
Yeah.
They do lack that.
I feel maybe there's some training to be done.
Oh, there clearly is. There is in some circumstances.
Maybe. So she had a look, and then and there's also a history about this, but when I was a child, my mum's sister, who we were very close to, passed away from cancer of the womb. So I was going back to pattern matching. I remember her journey and the struggle. So she turned around to me and went, she didn't even look at me, and she just went, oh, there's definitely something there. And then she walked off to the computer.
That was her answer to
Yeah, and I hadn't talked to anyone for about 2 weeks. I hadn't touched, no physical touch. I've been isolated for 2 weeks with these thoughts in my head. Yeah. So I started crying, and then I sat in front of her. She goes, well, meet me at the desk. I sat in front, she's typing into the computer. And I'm just, and it's so interesting because my day job is an optometrist. I test patients all the time. And so many had said to me, when you go for these appointments, take someone with you.
Yeah.
And I hadn't ever realised that duality of, it was almost like a cartoon character. She's talking, my mind is racing. It's gone to, I'm dead,
you've
I'm gone chemotherapy, I've gone, So she turned around and she went, oh, you're crying. I was thinking,
what?
Yeah, I am. What do you expect me to do? You've just told me there's something. Yeah. My experience of it is death. Well, I've seen of this kind of stuff. And I'm going to do this alone. Literally, what? And so I remember having to physically get myself into the moment going, there is no one here with me because of COVID. You couldn't take anyone. There is no one here. I have to concentrate on what she's saying. I have to listen. So I tried to ask the questions, and basically she was going to send me for a biopsy. So that was the moment, literally the moment where there is some stuff I cannot control in my life, but there is some stuff I can.
Absolutely.
I can control what's going into my mouth, and I've got a massive support group on this meditation thing who are so skillful with their mindset and their healing and I truly have that side of me where I feel the energy of the world. I like to call it God, but I don't think of it as a person sitting in the sky. I feel it's the energy of the universe. Okay. And a lot of them had a lot of skills when it came to that. So I was so blessed at that time, and I feel I was totally guided and looked after. But I literally came out of that appointment, still streaming, crying, went straight to one of the supermarkets, and I just cleaned up from that moment. And I had no idea that I was even capable of giving up processed junk food for as long as I did. I'm not now, but it changed in one instant.
Wow.
And so I went shopping, got fresh food, and this is where I think it's a blessing. We weren't going out to eat. It had to be homemade food, and it didn't have to be, but it was easier, and I had time to cook.
So why not?
So it changed.
Do it properly.
Yeah, and then one of the people on the meditation group, they had given me, their Preeti had set them a food program before, and that way of eating was a game changer for me. It was easy, and I don't feel hungry, and it was great. And then that year, so that was in the May, I think I was solid strict till the December.
Okay.
Christmas.
And when you say strict, what did it entail? So for our listeners, I'm curious as to what did this regime entail?
So I was experimenting with different things.
Okay.
Because I also had I'm happy to share pictures actually.
Okay, we can put them on. Yeah,
up.
absolutely, we can.
Because
in fact, that's quite a good thing.
Yeah, because I've got pictures of what my skin looked like at the time. It was starting to get really bad. I've always struggled with bad skin, and it was coming on my face, and I couldn't control it. Yeah.
I've known you quite a while.
I know. I've hidden it quite well, but that particular year, it was because it was on my body, like back and stuff. That particular year, it was coming up on my face, and
stress plays a part.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. But you have, and for anyone listening with skin issues, honestly, you go to dermatologists, you go do everything, you spend a fortune, and you get told it's stress. I'm like, have I been stressed for 25 years?
There are some things that do dwell, which you do have to be mindful
of. And it's possible.
Yeah.
It is possible. I could have been. And I've tried detoxes for a week or 2 weeks. So I was looking for something for that as well. So what this food thing, the guy shared with me, and this worked amazingly for me. It was quite straightforward. In the morning, you have carbs, protein, and fruit, some sort of fruit. This is not rocket science, right? And a glass of water. Mid-morning was a bit of fruit, a glass of water. Afternoon, so midday, lunchtime, so every 2 hours, about that much protein, palm of your hand, that much carbs, and then veg. Mid-afternoon, I would drop the carbs. So mid-afternoon was protein, and then evening was protein and veg. Yeah. Water at every moment, never felt hungry. It was great. But then you evolve, because I could do that for 2 weeks, and it got rid of the crisps. I was never a chocolate person, but crisps, wow. Crisps, Coke Zero, I was just drinking water.
Not like this black coffee that I'm
No
drinking.
Coffee, no. I think I went to green teas. And I don't drink alcohol anyway, so that was the easier one for me. Okay. So it's amazing, isn't it? Because then I was doing visualizations every morning to literally, I had them recorded actually. I've got them on my YouTube if anyone wants them.
So they were verbal visualizations.
So I recorded,
Right, okay.
What things I was learning from the meditation group, I was recording for myself. I only did it for 2 weeks because I knew the biopsy was coming up. So I did, so visualizations when I started, and this is where I absolutely now convinced this stuff starts in your mind.
I'm
convinced.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally. So the mornings, because I was doing the meditation, I was on this insane, I can't even write this stuff. Go on. I was on this insane thing that what healed me a lot was getting up in the morning and going round. I live near one of the lakes, and going round in the morning, the sun is rising. And then I would do my own meditation before, I'd do this little routine before I'd even go on the meditation group. Because I had this thing of, if I want to lead this group for others, I need to make sure I'm in the right space first.
Okay.
So my day would start at 4:30. I'm not working. So
I have seen your videos early morning while I've been in bed.
I'm slack now. I'm saying all of this I don't do that now.
Oh,
but
right.
I did it. I will do it, hopefully. When you go back to it, it's a great time. I don't want to go back to it. But when pain is there, and then I'll fill you in about the morning sunshine afterwards, but that how healing it actually is, and I found that out afterwards. But so there was this whole thing of this visualization. So I was recording my own voice because I felt like I concentrated better if I actually talked myself into talk to myself through relaxation, and then imagining drinking water and my cells saying, oh, thank you, that's so lovely. And then talking to myself, what is it you actually need? What nutrients do you want? What is it? And I found stuff started coming through. So even with the skin, and this I thought, not so much my skin on my face, I think I had to detox for 9 months for that to start clearing.
That's an awfully long time.
Yeah, and in the past I've only ever detoxed for a month, a week, a month. But I noticed it started actually clearing after 8-9 months. But I was trying so many different things.
Right.
So as well as the food, then I started putting vitamins in, gut bacteria, researching all this stuff. Yeah. And then the classic though. So I had this rash on my chest and my back for years. On and off, doctors saying it's eczema, it's acne, it's eczema, and then the way they treat those things contradict. Went to 2 dermatologist appointments over the years, had patch tests, nothing. During this time, where I feel like when you start aligning, and again, that was a special time because I'm not doing it right now, but stuff starts happening, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. TikTok went crazy over
it did. Yeah.
TikTok, someone on there talks about fungal acne. Some random person, I'm like, that's exactly where my rash is. It's a £2 foot cream for athlete's foot, cleared it up within 2 days. I've had it for 20 years.
Wow.
And that's when you start thinking, like, when you find the solution, it's great, but when you can't and you're banging your head against a brick wall so stuff started really aligning and started going that way. It was a magical time. I forgot about it, actually.
It's strange, because, you've touched on something which I cover a lot anyway, but you actually have the answers inside of you.
Yeah.
But you have to find a way of asking. It's like the fact that you were talking it out and saying, what do I need?
Yeah.
We could say subconscious, it's actually deeper than that, was looking and answering you. And if it can't answer internally, it can put it out there. Because we're all vibrations. And when our thoughts are vibrations and they go out and they pick 100%. Up stuff.
100%.
And it's all stuff like this.
Oh, 100%, I would absolutely say. So when I was saying about the morning sunshine, so this arrived the year before, in 2019. I went through a heartbreak and I was on the floor, absolutely so devastated with this scenario that had happened, and I felt totally alone. And I'd heard something about that 5 a.m. club, and since then I've done the psychotherapy training, right? But at that time I hadn't done any of that. But at that time I was still into self-help type books, and someone had said about a 5 a.m. club. And what I realized was I was in so much emotional pain that I wasn't sleeping very well anyway. Now I know that's linked, but at the time I didn't. I thought, 5 a.m. club, let me just get up then. And then they had a bit about you go walk, educate yourself, do all these 6 things in the morning. So I thought, let's go for the walk, and it is painful, but it was beautiful. When you're watching the sunrise, emotional.
Right.
So that's where I'm walking around. I'm feeling totally alone in this world, from the story that I used to feed myself, and all I was thinking is just nature. It's just God, and it's just you and me now. But it was emotionally painful because I had this belief that I was alone. And then you're going around this lake and but there was something about it that felt really nice. What I found out years later when I started my psychotherapy course is the power of morning sunlight. Okay. And now I won't be quiet about it, because it happened intuitively. Because when I went, and I used to feel better afterwards, and I felt I could meditate better afterwards, so I just kept doing it. And I probably did it religiously for about 2 years. And then it was only when I sat I sat in a lecture and they started talking about morning sunlight. The way that, and because of my optometry stuff, I'm a geek on this stuff. So Huberman Lab, his podcast, he's an ophthalmologist and he's a lecturer, I think neurology as well, in America, and he does all the science behind everything. So he's put up about morning sunlight. I'm sitting in this lecture with the psychotherapy, and they are literally saying the sunlight, the way the light, that particular morning rays before 11 o'clock, the way it hits the back of the eye, it goes and hits the pineal gland. I won't get this right now, but it resets our circadian rhythm, so it helps us sleep. It boosts your mood. It literally it can even reduce blood pressure. It can change your life. That one thing, connecting with nature.
Wow. And I want to just interrupt you slightly, only because you said something a few moments ago about what you were feeding yourself. You're talking to yourself, your mind, during the troubles. So what could you identify now that you were perhaps saying to yourself, which was actually increasing the problems at the time rather than reducing them? Because your self-talk, remember, you're listening. So if you're talking negatively in some way, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but if you were, then that will bring you down.
Yeah.
So changing your vocabulary to yourself, which it looks like you've done, has also had a positive effect and changed your direction. But can you remember what you used to say to yourself?
100%. How can you forget this stuff? Because do you really erase it, or you learn so many tips and tools and tricks that you can do to change stuff until you then start feeling different? And I think to really make a sense of what I was saying, so you're asking me what I was saying at that time, I feel like if I can share with a bit of backstory, if you're open to listening to the backstory.
Our listeners and viewers will be keen to know.
So it might be a bit long, but I'll share the story.
They may go or are going through a similar journey and not knowing where to turn. But if they see how you've transformed and what you changed, maybe perhaps they can do the same. So please.
So I grew up in an Orthodox Sikh household, really strict, very religious, very controlling father, loving father in his way that he knew best. Yeah, not physically violent, nothing like that, but controlling, and controlled us with fear, authoritarian. So the whole of our upbringing was with religion, and there was many amazing parts to that. Then when it came to marriage, it became very between my parents wanted us to have arranged marriages. I say us because my siblings as well. And we were brought up in a Western world. We wanted love marriages, and this conflict was horrendous. It was just getting worse and worse and worse, one thing after another. And so in the end...
Did you rebel?
Yeah, do I need to? I don't know, I needed to go. Oh, okay. Okay. So when it came to marriage, for me, I don't know about anyone else, but for me, it became horrendous. All I knew is I was meant to have an arranged marriage, but the first interaction that was going to happen didn't work. Then I thought, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to have a love marriage. That got shut down. Then the next one, all got shut down. In the end, I rebelled, and I ended up marrying a white guy, Caucasian guy, and I was disowned from the parents, the society, and you're left out on a limb. So the thoughts that come, I never felt good enough, if I'm honest. Growing up, didn't have a voice. And this is the interesting thing. How much have I let you talk right now? Hardly anything.
That's fine.
Right?
This is a better interview that way, hearing you rather than me.
Now it's really hard to stop me talking. But when we were growing up, I had two brothers and two cousins. We grew up together. If you watch home videos, I'm silent. I was silent like a mouse, so. At that point, so you're not good enough to speak. I was the youngest, so you're not. What do you know? You're not clever enough. You're not this enough. And then there was I'm adding some of the therapy stuff here, but what I learned about recently was conditions of worth. I didn't realize it at the time. You are only loved if you are or performing a certain way and doing a certain thing. You are not loved for just being who you want to be. So it's conditions of worth, conditions of love.
Is that a cultural thing, or is that, you think that's everybody?
Definitely the way I was I was brought up, because we were told from day dot, if you do that, we're gonna send you away. If you do that, you're disowned. And it happened. We knew the rules. And most people that I had in my generation, it was the same. You knew if you step out of line, you are not coming back into this society, in this household. So there was rejection there. Then through the marriage, it was a short-term marriage, 4 years, but there was rejection at the end where the partner went off with someone else. And again, rejection, not good enough. Your self-worth is down through the...
Of course, yeah.
And at that time I went through a bout of depression, and that's when the thoughts were the worst. And I didn't know. And I don't know how many people out there may be suffering with depression. I didn't know. I just thought I was a bit sad.
Yeah.
You're not smiling anymore. You can't. You wake up early, but you're exhausted. All of these things I found out later are signs of depression.
Right.
I had no idea. I had no mental health training at that time. But the thoughts, all of that, you're not good enough. You're alone in this world. No one's there for you. No sense of belonging. All of that was there at the time. But I was fortunate. I was one of the fortunate ones that over a period of the last 10 years have been able to patch it up with family. And some of those stories are beautiful, and I'm willing to share that. One step in front of the other. So after that, and then putting one foot in front of the other, building your life back up. And looking back at it, the story, it sounds. So when I was 36, I had.
So last year.
Yes. Last year. I've done a lot of work in a year. Gosh, it feels.
That's what I thought. But okay, go on.
Well, I'm only 32 in my head, so it's actually in 4 years' time.
Good.
In 4 years' time.
Very good.
The story is insane. I had, through various circumstances, I had no job. I had nowhere to live.
Oh, wow.
I was losing my mind because I was suffering with depression. I had no family, although my mum and dad were talking to me again.
Right. So literally, they'd ostracised you. They just did not.
You made your decision. We don't want to know. I used to go into work. Oh gosh, wow, it's emotional. If you open a wound enough, you can. I would go into work, not just my parents. I would go into work and some of the society so we were so ingrained in that. I'm going to say goddaughter, so our temple.
Yeah.
It was like this little sect of, it is religious, and the religion itself, Sikhism itself, I still absolutely abide by those qualities. I wouldn't say that I follow that religion anymore, but the culture. So when I'm at work, people from the community literally look at me, snub me and walk away after that. No, and their daughter, who was 2 years younger than me, did the same thing. And you don't forget.
No.
I had a text message from her because I was all I wanted to do was see my nieces again. We grew up in the same house. They were born, we were living in an extended family. I'm so blessed with them in my life, but I just wanted to see them again. They were 7, 8 and 6.
So they would have wanted to see you, but they were prevented from doing so.
Not allowed.
Right.
Yeah, and everywhere I went, not allowed, but that was my main drive. I want to see them again. I want to have a relationship with them. And really, there was something inside me. I don't want my parents to die with me not talking, with us not talking like this.
Yeah.
I don't think I can live with the guilt. I was a good girl. I'm suddenly not a good girl anymore.
Yeah.
So I used to.
You see, the thing is, you're probably relating to a lot of the listeners and watchers here who feel very similar and have gone through similar experiences, because these are I don't want to analyse it because that's not the point of the conversation, but they are self-inflicted almost pain that we're family by, instead of scraping all the weight, you're still a daughter. Yeah. You're still a loved one. You're still family. You should just love them unconditionally. Yeah. But these boundaries that are put in place are fabricated by us for what purpose? Yeah. What was the benefit? To impress them or community?
Yeah. And that's what it was always that time. Yeah. At that time, when it was like, I could see some of my friends, marrying out of culture, and because their parents accepted it, everyone else was accepting it.
Were they happy?
Who?
Those people who married?
I don't know. Some of them are still together. You never know from the outside, do you?
Okay, yeah.
Their Facebook photos look really happy. and my nights of, oh my God, everyone hates me. They love them.
That is a problem, with social media. Everyone wants to live that perfect life shown on social media.
Social media, they're happy.
Far from the truth.
I have no idea. But looking back in hindsight with the eyes of a therapist, what I can tell you is, so the type of therapy I've studied in is called Human Givens, and it's all about
Human Givens. That's what I was going to ask you on here. But okay. Human Givens. I've not heard of that.
Yeah, the reason it's called that, it is basically when we are born, we know we've got some physical needs, right? We need water, we need sleep, we need shelter.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Similar concept, So there's levels of what we need to survive. Yeah. So there are our physical ones, but we've got a set of 9 emotional needs that we need to met in balance for us to be mentally healthy.
Okay.
So our body is geared to get these needs met in whichever way possible. So stuff like, and again, some of this will overlap with what you just said, but the secure place to live, a non-toxic environment, control, autonomy and control in our lives, status, I'm going to say all of them, but a place where we're learning, where we're growing, where we're achieving, where we get attention.
Attention is the big one.
Yeah,
respected
back and forth. Status.
Yes.
Yeah. So and purpose, meaning. There's another one which is intimacy and being a part of a wider community. So when I go back with these eyes, why was I shunned out of that community? Because it's a community. It keeps us safe. It keeps our mental health intact. Suddenly someone's broken free. We can't do that to our community. So let's shun her, keep our community safe, our mental health is safe. They may not know it's their mental health being protected.
But that's what they're trying to...
That's what's happening, right? They're not coming up from it. I can now I have done so much work on this. Before there was hate and there was
You were wondering, why have I been ostracised? But now you understand it's the collective that's being protected, they thought.
I like that. Yeah, those exact words. And now I look back at people weren't evil.
No.
They were just trying to protect their own kids from poor mental health. Maybe they're not doing it consciously. Maybe this is a story I'm telling myself.
No, I think you're actually correct from an analysis point of view. They're not understanding that. They're just trying to keep the community stable as is.
Exactly. And if you look at I have built out with my dad, but if you look at my dad, he had status in that community. He had control of he wanted to have control over the kids so he could protect that status. He was he was that, he had, their bigger purpose was the God and Sikhism and all of that stuff. I come along and do what I've done. All of his human needs. So his shame, my shame, all of his human needs have gone. How does he get in control back? And his story is amazing, that the reframe that I've had to do with the journey of him and me. But so I now see all of that as it's not pleasant for any party, right? I have my stuff to blame in that. But the thoughts, if we go back to where you were asking the thoughts, it's the shame, and I didn't know it was shame. It's that I'm not good enough. It's that I'm alone in this world. When it comes to it, no one's here for you. And those were the stories I was feeding myself. Having said that, you mentioned about my nieces wanting to see me. So there was a point when I then started volunteering at their school, because I was literally having text messages. You can't see them. You can't do this. You can't.
You see the innocence of children. They just want to.
Yeah, they were sending me letters. They were sending me letters and trying to get them to me. One of my brothers
don't understand the complicated structure that is fabricated. Really,
they just love. Yeah. And then one of my brothers would still talk to me in secret, so they would get the letters through him to me. And when I volunteered at their school, I couldn't go in their class. It was in a different class, but I'd just be able to wave. I'd wave to them through the window.
Did that give you something? At least you had some contact. It's strange, isn't it?
It was heartbreaking.
Did you know, obviously it's digression slightly, but again, it's similar lines.
Yeah.
In COVID, when people were apart, obviously people phoned, which gave them something.
Yeah.
But strangely, why technology became prevalent is that people could see someone, even on a phone, at a distance. That gave them something. Because you're seeing the face. Though you couldn't grab them and hug them, you got some semblance of comfort. So even in your scenario, at the school that you waved, you saw them. There's a slight connection.
There was a connection.
Yeah,
you're right.
Powerful.
Good. Well, and phone calls was just not an option. How was I going to get a phone call to them? It was so those thoughts. Then when the relationship's gone, years of like trying to find a partner and trying to have kids and like I need a partner so I can have kids.
Is that something that you've always thought of? Is that
kids?
Is that because something that your culture wanted you to do, or was that something you felt you wanted to do?
I have asked myself this question so many times, especially when I was really trying to heal through this journey. Excuse me. What I realised is it just what I was conditioned, that we're on this planet to basically get married and have kids. That's what my conditioning was in the environment I grew up in. So at 40, when I obviously hit 21, when I hit 40, I'm sitting here thinking that hasn't happened. Oh, right, there you go. You're failed again. And then you start thinking, but no, it's not just my upbringing. In this world, we're told we're here to reproduce. This is an inherent thing within us. So you're failed on this epic level now. And then you're kind of thinking, is it what I wanted? Or is it because what people have told me I wanted? And I couldn't decipher that for a very long time. And have I really even deciphered it now? Because the biggest blessing, and I have talked to some people, not many, but some people, and I probably will put this out there, that the hardest thing is when I know women that are having challenges with not being able to get pregnant, a similar situation with me, that perhaps they never found someone they wanted them. It is heartbreaking. It is absolutely to your core. You feel like this biggest failure, that this thing never happened, that like 18-year-olds can do with no problem. Right? But there is life after it. So I do know what happened. I was going to say I don't know, but 2 years ago, that there was some level of acceptance, and that lifts.
Okay.
It's not forever. That feeling, if it doesn't happen, and I don't know what the future holds, but at least right now, there's some round of acceptance around it.
Is there a side question really, because you've just sparked something here. This idea of having your own child, why not, if there's circumstances that the person you've met hasn't been the right one, you haven't been able to actually go down that route, why not, for all these people, if it's children, there are many children out there that need adopting. So fostering to start with, and then seeing how that goes. There is some fulfillment there, because those children need loving too. If that's the purpose of, I mean, I'm not a female, obviously I don't know about that bodily change, but is there a yearning to have a child of your own, or would you get the same, what's the word I'm looking for, not closure, the same feelings if the child, because you said you were really close to your nieces, if you had a child that you adopted which was similar as a baby, they would know you, they would know no different, they would think that you were the mother, and the bond would still be created. Yes, it's not a blood child, but still, does that matter in these? See what I mean?
Yeah, and I actually say it depends. It really depends on people's circumstances, doesn't it? Because for me, the biggest blessing has been the nieces. Because I then realised, this is where I think the shift started happening. A lot of people said, why don't you just do it for yourself? Why don't you just do it? But it wasn't about that.
Right.
If I'm really looking at it, if I'm actually looking at it, and I'm probably airing this out with you, talking it out with you, because I haven't really looked at that. Looking back on it now, I think I just want it to be accepted. And to be accepted in the society that I got shunned from, you would get married and have kids.
Right. So that was the criteria.
That was at the time.
There could be, you see, there's how many people in that community, for whatever reason, even biologically, couldn't have children. Would they be shunned, or would they
frowned upon?
You see, this is the thing. So then the rules of the community have to be questioned. I know the integrity of it are important, and keeping it as is, but if people are genuinely unable to have children,
I mean, it must be devastating.
It must be difficult because of this extra pressure. I want to take you back a couple of things that I noticed that you said. You used the word failure a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Why is it failure?
It was all failure.
But why was it failure?
So it's
define failure first.
Oh wow.
You're using it a lot. So clearly,
so those were the thoughts.
This is what I mean.
100%.
What made you choose those words of failure? Because failure is absolutely no coming back. Could you not have changed it? I haven't succeeded. It's softer, less painful. I haven't succeeded. Not failure, because failure is absolutely final.
And if you could go back and tell that person that at the time, and if you could go back, because this is all the thoughts that were going around when I'm walking around that lake, because why was I a failure?
The language, you're listening, you see. The fact that you say it, you're listening, and it reinforces
it. Because I had failed. The only thing I was born on this planet to do was get married and have kids.
That was not your role. And it's not a failure. Do you see what I mean? You've been programmed,
right?
indoctrinated with that thought.
There's some conditioning.
But how real.
Exactly. And I agree with you, because the thing that was so disjointed for me, and I love this lady to bits, she works with me, and she used to say to me, Susan, I look at you and I think you've done so many amazing things and you do this and that and this. She goes, I don't see failing.
No.
And it was so disjointed from my thoughts. And I'm like, she doesn't see me failing. So why am I seeing that as a failure? Because on the outside, from that story, when you think there's no house, there's nothing going on, suddenly I'm sitting there in my early 40s with a house, with a, pure back with family and love and joy. And I'm thinking, I've got my career, got all this stuff together again, talking on stages when we met. And you're thinking, why do I still have that as the pinnacle? And this is where I said the biggest blessing was COVID.
Right.
Because it all changed.
Made you reset and really took you down.
It all changed.
You see, there's a philosophy that I talk about as well, which I don't know if you can relate to this. Our life, I must say, we're waves. We have waves through life. We go up and we go down. And the down parts are called C moments, S-E-E, in my opinion.
Okay.
And they stand for serious emotional event.
Yeah.
And it's at those points that you say the pain point is received, that change happens.
Yeah.
So that's where we say those pain points, those C moments, because we have several in our lifetime. Because we have tragedy. It's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the learning points.
Yeah.
And if you notice with this, if you see a wave of someone's life, it comes down and then it comes back up.
Yeah.
And it's that upturn that you've now changed something.
Yeah.
So you had that experience. It's a life lesson.
Yeah.
It brings you back stronger and then you can then rise again. And those are almost not expected, but everyone gets them. They're growth points. If you look back on your life 100%. And go, look what happened 100%. There. I was at my lowest, but you know what? I came out and I learned X, Y, Z.
And now I see them as, and I love that because of the analogy of being the waves. You know, the waves, they come and go, they can go calm, they can go rough.
Exactly.
How do you learn to sail them? Where are you setting your sail, or that thing, isn't it? Which way are you navigating?
But that's you as a person growing on how to deal with those. And self-worth, self-confidence is part of that journey because 100%. It softens the waves. The waves still happen, but you can tolerate them far easier than you would otherwise.
Exactly. And I absolutely think, if we're going with that analogy, is experience that when you've got evidence that C point was so far down before and we got through that, if something's coming again, we've got the tools.
Exactly.
We've got the experience.
Exactly.
We can guide it. So that's helped me in no end. Look at the evidence in your own life where something's happened, bring it. You know, your mind will feed you so many lies if it chooses to. And if you believe the negative ones, the failure, the the other thing is what people have told us.
Yes, of course it is. That's where our programming comes from.
That is where all of that, the failing has come from. And they say it in subtle ways. They say it in the way that they are or being, you know. Even in the society's day now, it is different. I feel like post-COVID is a different life. So pre-COVID, if I went to the temple, you can see, can you? Because it's all in our head. The way people would ask me questions or look at me, I would be feeling it in that environment.
Right.
Did you ever get married? Have you had kids?
Yeah.
People it's already, when something's already a sore spot and they ask you that, it hammers it down.
But if you think about this logically, also there's two factors here. We are allowing those words in.
Yes.
Because all of us possess a translator in our mind.
Yeah.
Because if that person had spoken in a foreign language
Yeah.
with the same words,
Yeah.
you wouldn't understand it.
Exactly.
So even though the words and intent
Yeah.
are there, your translator cannot understand those words.
Yeah.
So it's you taking
Love
those
that.
words and interpreting
Yeah.
them in a way that you feel pain, or you
Yes.
can, if you're self-confident,
Yeah.
you can say, actually,
It's
I
not
don't
even
care.
true. Yeah. And that's the difference past COVID.
Yes.
Because what you just said, completely right. If someone calls you a green alien, I ain't taking that in. I have no resonance with that.
No.
But you call me, yeah, you did this, and this when it comes to rejection, this, that, the other.
You take
I've
it on
already
board.
fed myself that stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So
And
I
that's
take
why
that
it
in like a
resonates.
sponge. And that's the bit I picked up on.
Yeah.
Did I pick up on all the positive things she said? No,
No.
because my brain is tuned into the bit that I relate
Of
to.
course.
And that's the bit I still remember now. Whereas actually the positive bit about that experience is I still connect with Indian hymns and all that. It's beautiful. So that same day I had that experience.
Right.
Where do I want to put my magnifier, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with you. I think the great thing is to go through that. The great thing I feel now is you surprise yourself when you start changing your own behaviours and you think, damn, I was able to do that. Like eat clean for 9 months. I couldn't give up a packet of crisp or Coke Zero for 2 days.
But you've
No.
done it. Yeah, you did
How
it.
did I do that for 9? And then that it gives you confidence.
Yeah.
Not necessarily self-worth. It gives you confidence to say, if I can do that, what else can I do? If I can do that, what else can I do? And then what I've noticed in hindsight is all my needs started getting met. Suddenly you don't feel like a failure. And through fitness, it was amazing. So through fitness and through psychotherapy, I started learning something new. Both of these things. I started feeling... even if with fitness, if I look at that from a human needs point of view, I set a goal and I wanted to do a push-up. I wanted to be able to do a pull-up. Well, that's where I started.
Yeah.
What does it take?
Yeah.
What would it take to get a six-pack and you're by 50? What would that take? All these crazy dreams when I'm thinking, oh, I'm not there. What would it take? And then when it starts happening, suddenly you're learning, you're growing, you're seeing achieving. Started putting on my social media. Maybe people say it's fake attention, but you start getting attention. Suddenly people are giving you status. Oh, you can do a pull-up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're at your age and you can do that. And then you're learning, you're growing. But the magic thing, if I can completely honestly say it, hand on heart, the thing that changed when I say shifts happened is when I changed my purpose. I really got to the point where my purpose was what I've said to you earlier, get married, have kids.
Yeah.
Was that my purpose or was it society's? Right?
This is the question.
And because I have a belief in faith, the universe, all that, all right, God, if I'm not on this planet to do that, maybe I'm on this planet for something else. And that was the game changer. And that's what I found. My story, I feel now, needs to be shared for every single person that's facing that they're not belonging somewhere, that needs to get over rejection. Because I've been pretty seeing a lot.
Yeah, the C area.
And
Yeah,
to show people that when you get purpose, it trumps all your other needs. Yeah, if you are struggling financially and this, that, the other, and you haven't got control, you got this, but you got purpose. And right now, I feel my purpose is how can I help someone else that's going through that? Give them a hand, say, look, there's a beautiful life ahead of you. You're not stuck.
Yeah.
And that has what's driven all my fitness now and all my mental health stuff and everything. Suddenly, I don't care if I've got kids or not. It doesn't matter because my story is now something else.
Brilliant.
That I feel is the game changer for someone who's struggling. Yes, we get your needs met, but if you can't get anything met, some of them we haven't got control over.
No.
But we can find purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody can.
Yeah.
I'm mindful of the time here because I've got so many questions. We could talk for hours and hours.
And that was just on your first question of how old am I?
Well, you've put a few things in. I mean, we've done loads on here already. But
All right, you can ask me something else.
we're going to run out of time, so I'm going to have to get a few
Fine,
bit
go
in.
for
Okay, you've already explained some of the fears. Who was your worst enemy in all this? Was it you?
It was my mind.
Oh, your mind. Okay.
That bully brain. But, have you heard of So Steve Peters, the chimp brain.
Yes,
Yeah?
got his book. Got
So,
the audio, yeah.
so amazing, right? You've got this instinctive part of you that is reactive, and that's the one that is the fight or flight type reflex, right? So I used to call it my bully brain, and that's the one that gets negative, and that's the one that brings me down, and
Animalistic.
and it beats you up. However, what I realised last year when I started running, which I hated running, and I started running last year, and this chimp is firing off. You're not built for this, you're too slow. If you listen to it, and I got these techniques from his book, listen to it. Your body, every part of it is trying to protect you, keep you safe.
It is.
It's talking to you from past experience to keep you safe. Half of it's true, right? Yes, I'm not very good at running, and yes, I am very slow. Yeah, you got it. It likes to be heard, and it calms down.
That's right. You've got to calm the chimp.
Calm it down.
Manage the chimp. Just for our listeners and viewers who are wondering,
Yes,
what the heck
what
are we
is
on
the
about?
chimp?
There's a book, and you can get it on audio, called The Chimp Paradox.
Yeah.
So well worth a listen or buy the book. It's
And I haven't actually read the first one. He's got another one out, The Path Through the Jungle. Something
I've not
like
read that one.
And it's that one that I got all of these lessons from.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't read the first one.
The first one was the one that really
That brought the
blew up
idea,
and-
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very good. It wasn't his original idea, actually. There was
Yeah.
there's been other different people who've done it. There's another guy who won the Nobel Prize called Daniel Kahneman, who wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow.
Oh.
That's
I have heard of
powerful,
that. Okay.
but it's a very deep analytical book.
yeah, fair.
So most people would struggle with it. I
Yeah.
did read it, but it took me a long time.
Well done. Determination, discipline.
Yes, absolutely.
You can tell your character.
But yeah, he was very thought-provoking. But the chimp paradox is far easier to understand and get grips to. But
So, the little bit I was going to say, and then you ask the chimp, okay, but do you remember we believe that we're fit now, and we're going to get fit, and the challenge is that how we're going to help others do it, because I attach purpose to it, I need your help.
Yes.
Then the chimp changes,
That's
right?
right.
Oh, you need my
because
help.
It needs
Oh, you need my help. Come on,
Yeah.
Doesn't keep you in bed in the morning anymore. It's like, come on,
it's
you
the one
said you
to
wanted to do
actually
this.
get you up.
So I
Yeah.
started calling it my champ.
Oh right, not your chimp. Very
My chimp.
good.
So when you said what was my biggest enemy, it was that bully that was going on and on at me, that you're this, you're that, stay put where you are. You know, people have told you this. Now it's my champ.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now the champ.
It's the champ. The chimp's turn to the champ.
Right, I'm mindful. I could
for
talk
it.
to you for hours. This is great stuff that we've covered here. We talked about your job, your background, and obviously the influence of family and all the rest of it, which is fabulous. If you had to give a takeaway to our audience as to what they can do to improve on little quick wins, perhaps anything that they could do that would help them try and get through another day, or because some people may be further behind the journey that you've now on, and you've accomplished so much. When you flip that switch, you improved, and everything seemed to blossom from then onwards. So is there anything that you can share with the audience that would sort of give them that little bit of hope to, keep going? There is light at the end of the tunnel. Anything that you've used yourself?
So much stuff. There's so much stuff. It depends where you're at.
We may have to do a second one of these, actually.
It depends where you're at, right? So in the deepest hour, so the one thing I had that I wasn't going to take my own life, because my cousin had done that many years ago. And it was just not going to happen, because I knew the impact on, and I didn't want that for my nieces to know that that's even an option. So if you
actually considered that?
There was nothing to live for. I was 36 with no one in my life. There was no money, there was no husband, there was no brain. There was I was on the floor, literally on the floor. But suicide was not an option. What was I to live for? There was nothing going on. I went back in with my mum and dad. These people told me in text messages the year before, I don't want to bloody know you. Do you know? So it was kind of, if you are at that stage when you are just thinking, what is the point? This voice is so loud and it's just destroying you. Just at that moment when you can't contemplate the things that got me through, come back right to this moment. Come back right to this moment. Right in this moment, is there blood pumping through your hands? Just look at that and get yourself through this moment. If you are right on the floor and you can't see any way, because you can get through this moment, you can get through the next breath. Look at the breath. Are you breathing? Okay, I'm breathing. Okay, can I take another breath? That you can go back to right basics depending if you are right on the floor. If you're not at that point, if you're functioning and you are at work and it's just the thoughts are going crazy, there's so many tips and tricks. But start with one thing, and be consistent. Do not break that promise to yourself. Because once you know that you haven't broken a promise to yourself, you suddenly are like, I can do something.
Wow.
You know? So I if I'm completely honest, the biggest lesson I've learned since COVID is, if you're changing something or you want to try something, for me, give it 3 years and stay as consistent as you can. Don't think you're changing stuff in a week or 2 weeks. Give it years. It took us years to get into that place. Stay consistent, just keep going. You may not be able to do it every day, as long as you're doing it most of the time. It's enough. Don't quit.
Wow.
Your life is not what you think it is right now. It's not this forever. And when you get out of that pain, you are so grateful that there's peace on the other side, if you're willing to do the work. Yeah. I don't know what the takeaway there was. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. And there's tips and there's tricks depending on where you are in your journey. And when you get there, I do now feel that my lesson for myself is, how do I pull back and help other people? Because there is life after rejection. You could be shamed. You could be sitting there or by yourself. Like when that heartache happened and I'm sitting there looking at that sun rising, thinking, all that's here is me and this sun. There's nothing else. What is going on here? Now it's completely different. That time doesn't last, and actually you won't feel it at the time, but it's the biggest blessing you're ever going to have, because the fuel that comes from that can charge your future, use it. Find your purpose in that moment.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Thank you. I mean, obviously, it was emotional for you to bring that back, but it was good.
There's obviously something going, isn't there? Because I'm like,
it was powerful.
Bring me at it.
But it shows again this C moment where you're at a lowest ebb, but you've pulled out, and now you're up at high, which is fantastic. So there is hope for everybody.
There's hope.
And hanging it in there, really. That's the challenge that people may have. Wow. I mean, we do need to do this again, but I'm mindful of the time.
Fine.
But if a best friend had to describe you, what would they describe you as?
So my best friend said to me, she goes something like, "You're really dogged." And I didn't know what that meant. Oh, I'm a dog. Right? I Googled it. I don't think she knows I Googled it. She told me on a voice message.
Determination.
Goes, yeah. So she said, when you put your mind to something, you are so dogged, you will just go fire. The other things I think she's also said to me is, you may have noticed it in here, if I get passionate about something, I get this, like, my champ comes out and it's like, gets really excited and come on, let's go and let's do this. And so I have this kind of drive, and I surprised myself. I didn't know it was there until this stuff started happening.
So the challenge sometimes causes that. It gives you, as you said, a purpose, but it drives you to go, actually, I want some of that. I want to be there, not back here.
And you kind of think, last year, I was doing a full-time job, right, 40 hours a week. I was doing my training in the morning, I'm doing my job, and I'm taking clients in the evening, one-to-one psychotherapy while I'm doing my training. I was doing, all my holidays were done doing my courses. There was no time. It was if I'm not running, I'm doing that, and if I'm not doing that, I'm testing eyes. There was literally no time, and I think at the end of that, she went, "You're really dogged."
Determined. Very good. I like that. Okay. I've got so many other questions I want to ask you, but we're running out of time here, so I'm going to have to almost cut it short.
Yeah.
You've answered that one. I mean, we've got to do this again because I think there's so much value here for our audience. And I've loved speaking to you here, and we could go on at length because there's so many I wanted to ask you, but it's just time permitting. But I do want to ask you some quick fire questions.
Oh gosh, quick fire.
Quick fire.
Let's
so
go.
don't think about these.
Okay.
Don't think about these. Just answer instinctively.
Okay.
Okay.
Champ, come on, champ. Got me.
Right. So don't think. Right. Red wine or white wine?
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. Plain food or spicy food?
Spicy.
Spicy.
All the way.
Any particular favourite?
Chilies as much as you can get them. Chuck them on everything.
Beach holiday or skiing holiday?
Oh, both.
You can't pick both. One or the other.
I've not been skiing for ages, so I'll go skiing if I got a choice.
Skiing, okay.
Oh no, can I change it? Beach. I've got a new body I need to show. I've not been on a beach holiday yet.
Okay. Okay, this one you may actually, I don't know. Are you a morning or night person? Morning.
I used to be night. That's changed.
Oh, okay, interesting.
That's changed.
KFC or McDonald's?
Neither.
Good answer.
Neither. I like junk crisps. Is basically what I want. If there was a crisp fast food joint, I want that.
Evil thoughts. Okay, curry or Chinese?
Oh, curry at the moment.
Curry.
Yeah.
Are you tidy or messy?
Tidy or messy? I like to be tidy.
But are you? This is the question. Are you tidy or messy?
Depends where I'm at.
Depends.
It depends where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put tidy.
Tidy on the outside. The wardrobes are messy.
Brown sauce or red sauce?
Red.
Red sauce. Yeah. Sea view or mountain view?
Oh, mountains.
Mountains. More success on the horizon or time to put your feet up?
I'm climbing the mountain. I'm climbing that mountain. It's just starting.
Brilliant. Susan, unfortunately we've run out of time today. Like I said, we could talk forever,
really,
and I think we do need to revisit this. We do a part two when we've got more time.
Let me know if you want a part
But I've actually loved having you on the show, and
it's been lovely.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we definitely have got to do this again.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Susan
Lovely
Lacan.
to meet you. Thank you. Yes.